Dodge was founded in Auburn Hills, Detroit, in America in the year 1900. The company's early days were spent supplying parts to Ford to assist build the Model A. Soon after, Dodge was also supplying parts to Oldsmobile. In 1914, Dodge releases the 3035, a mid-sized car that was more upmarket than Ford's Model T. It was powered by a 35 horsepower 3.5 litre four-cylinder engine. Despite only being built until 1916, it was a huge success with over 116,000 units being built. By this point, Dodge was the second biggest car manufacturer in the US. In 1920, both the Dodge brothers who had founded the company passed away, with their widows taking control. By 1925, Dodge had fallen to the fifth largest car company in the US. Shortly after, Dodge was sold to the Dillon Read & Co. investment group for $146 million. At the time, it was the largest cash transaction in history, the equivalent to over $2.5 billion in today's money. In 1928, Dodge was sold to the Chrysler Corporation for $170 million, the equivalent to $3 billion in today's money. In 1928, Dodge releases the Victory 6. It's their first car launched under Chrysler control, and the first car in the world to use an all-steel sheet body where the body panels were part of the load-carrying structure. This also improved production times and reduced the number of parts required. In 1932, Chrysler builds a new factory in Los Angeles, California, where Chrysler, Dodge and Plymouth models can be built, and by 1935, Dodge has built over 3 million vehicles. In 1936, Dodge releases the Series D2, a flamboyant model true to the Art Deco design of the time. The model found success during America's time of prosperity. Top models featured an 87 horsepower 3.6 litre six-cylinder engine, and the model was an early adapter of hydraulic brakes. Production of the D2 and subsequent models continued until 1942, at which point Chrysler Group factories were re-equipped to build resources to assist with the war efforts in Europe. During the Second World War, one of Dodge's most prominent models was the T, V and W series of trucks. Introduced in 1939, these trucks offered a huge number of body styles with power coming from straight-six engines up to 5.4 litres in size. In 1949, Dodge released the Carnet, a large luxury car that was between 5 and 5.2 metres in length. It was related to the Plymouth Deluxe, but the Dodge featured the biggest, more powerful engine, a 103 horsepower 3.8 litre straight-six. It came with the option of Chrysler's hugely advanced 4-speed semi-automatic gearbox. In 1955, Dodge began to offer the La Femme model. It was specifically designed for women. It was based on Dodge's custom Royale Lancer models and offered exclusively in the 5.4 metre long two-door coupe body style with a V8 engine. Exteriors were painted in a white and rose combo, while the interiors were upholstered in pink and pale silver pink, and were supplied with a complementary calfskin purse that matched the interior colour scheme. In total, roughly 2,500 were built in 2 years. In 1959, Dodge launched the Dart. It was marketed as a low-priced, full-size model, essentially making an early-day alternative to muscle cars. The Dart was 2 metres wide and up to 5.5 metres long. At the bottom of the range sat a 3.7 litre six-cylinder engine. Above this was a range of V8s from 5.2 to 6.3 litres in size. In 1962, Dodge releases the Custom 880. It's loosely related to the Chrysler Newport. It's a large car and it features V8 engines up to 7 litres in size. It only stayed in production until 1965. In total, just over 101,000 cars were built. In 1964, Dodge released the Travco, a large motorhome up to 32 feet in length. It featured a 5.2 litre V8 that was enough to see the Travco to a top speed of over 70 miles an hour, even when fully laden at a weight of over 6 tons. It continued in production until the late 1980s. In 1966, Dodge launched the Charger. Despite earning a reputation as a muscle car to rival Ford's Mustang and the Chevrolet Camaro, the Dodge Charger was larger with more featured and was marketed as a full-size upscale fastback to rival the Mercury Cougar and the Pontiac GTO. It was built for 13 years over 4 generations. Engines included 6 cylinders and V8s, the largest being the 7 litre Hemis and the 7.2 litre Magnums. The first 3 generations featured the famous hidden headlights in the grille. The second generation was the most famous thanks to its featuring in a famous car chase in the 1968 film Bullitt, and a 1969 Charger was the main car used in the TV series The Dukes of Hazzard. 1969 also saw the release of the Dodge Charger Daytona. It featured an aerodynamic nose cone and 23-inch spoiler to keep it stable during NASCAR racing. It was the first car to hit 200 miles an hour on a NASCAR closed circuit. 503 Daytonas were built for the road. In 1970, Plymouth released its own version called the Superbird. In total, over 700,000 Dodge Chargers were built.